I had on Wednesday on Bayou Time with Dr. Joni Claville. And of course, she has become an expert on bath salts and synthetic marijuana. As a physician at Terrebonne General Medical Center in the emergency department, she sees a lot of this, and she was on the desk speaking out about the effects of the synthetic drugs. Let's take a listen to some of that conversation. Let's start the conversation off just briefly. I want to take them from point A to point Z on this thing.
Okay.
So what is it? What is synthetic drugs? What is it comprised of? What is it all about?
Okay. Well, synthetic marijuana, it's a new trend that's cropping up across the U.S. Lawmakers, medical professionals, it basically has the community in an uproar. Synthetic marijuana is a psychoactive chemical. When I say psychoactive, what does that mean? It means that it gets in the bloodstream and it crosses the blood-brain barrier. So basically it gets in the bloodstream and it gets into the brain and basically it affects the brain function. So it's a chemical product, and when consumed, it mimics marijuana. And note I say mimics marijuana. Right. It's best known by the most popular brands that we've seen, K2 and Spice, and these names have become trademarks to refer to synthetic marijuana. However, these are just brands. There are hundreds of different brands. Mm-hmm. K2 and Spice are just two brands, but there are hundreds of different brands of the synthetic marijuana. Initially, it was thought of as a legal and easy way to find a potent imitation of the real thing meaning marijuana. It's been becoming increasingly prevalent amongst our young adults, adolescents, and the thing is, the synthetic blend lacks a lot of long-term research. It lacks a lot of research. And when I say synthetic, I mean that it's artificial, it's created in a lab. Mm-hmm. It's not anything that's grown. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of our young people and people that use this synthetic marijuana, it's basically not anything that's, they think, hey, it's a legal herb. And
it's not organic.
It's not organic. Basically what they do, they take vegetable matter, whatever it is, grass, they can take a lot of vegetable matter, and then they basically they spray chemicals on it, and then they package it and give it to you. So this is what our young people are exposing themselves to without really knowing what they're actually using. It's the synthetic substitute comes in so many names. You have the K2 Spice. I've seen Kush and Ultra Chronic, Voodoo Spice, so many different names, right. Hundreds of different brands out there. And they're sold under the disguise of incense or herbal smoke aromas. And they have a warning on the package that says it's not for human consumption.
That ought to tell you something like that. Yeah, but people don't absorb that, I guess. Let me ask you, as an emergency room physician, and the whole reason I got you on, because you were here for a Terrebonne General Medical Center segment one night, mm-hmm. talking about something totally different, yeah. And you alluded to something mm-hmm. during the break, and I asked you a follow-up question.
Sure.
At the end of the show about synthetic marijuana. You said you were seeing more of this in Houma, mm-hmm. in cases where young adults were coming in. Mm-hmm. About when did you start seeing it?
I started seeing it more prevalent maybe around, I'd say, November, December. I've started to see it a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, that was after it was legally banned in Louisiana. There was a House bill that was House Bill 173 that Governor Bobby Jindal basically put into motion that banned certain chemicals or certain compounds that are found in this synthetic marijuana. They were banned around August 15th, 2010, but we continued. I started to see it more and more even after the ban. Mm-hmm. And basically what I was seeing was people coming in and they say, well, I'm using they admit to using synthetic marijuana, and they say, well, I've been using it the same brand for a year or so, and I've never had this effect. And I'm wanting to know what's wrong with me, what's going on, why am I feeling this way? So we've definitely seen a whole lot. It's becoming more prevalent with our young people.
All right, also, we're going to jump to Thursday now on Bayou Time, and the minority judgeship, once again, an issue, as we took phone calls and talked about it here on Bayou Time. And certainly, we'll listen into some of the comments on Thursday. Joining me live on the phone right now is State Representative Joe Harrison. Joe, thank you for joining us on Bayou Time tonight.
Yes, Martin. I appreciate it.
Let's set the record straight, because certainly it was told to me, and I think in the follow-up you heard me tell Mr. Boykin that until Representative Harrison tells me personally that he is supporting the bill which you are trying to endorse, I can't go on the air with it. And quite obviously, you did not support it. So what happened? Where did his information go wrong with you?
Well, I was told that, and Gordy Dove and myself said that we wanted the community involved in this from the beginning, and that we would do this according to the law. I requested a review by the Judicial Council to see whether it merited another court system, which they found that it didn't. And Gordy pretty much informed him that we would like to get the support of all of the political entities and also the people within the community. After the committee meeting was held, I was in two other committees at the time. I was told that they had all of that. Between that time and the time that this bill came to the floor, I found out that that was not true, that a number of people who had testified at the committee were giving false information to the committee, and it was only the information that the committee could base it on felt that Terrebonne Parish was wholeheartedly behind the measure. So that's when I questioned it. I said, I do not feel that this is the process that we agreed to, and it was not going to go forward until I spoke to the people involved.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Joe, were the people that were testifying, was it citizens representing, I guess, the makeup of the community that were, I think in one case, someone in the committee said that Judge Gadry was also endorsing the minority district, which in fact, he wrote a letter, and we got a copy here in HTV, that he was against it. Is that one of the references you're talking about?
Absolutely. I mean, this was completely false testimony to the House of Representatives committee that had to make the call whether this bill should move forward. And unfortunately, it was Mr. Fazio that made that statement, and it was totally false.
Okay. What Fazio? Do you know, so we could get the record straight?
I think he calls himself Colonel